Josh, very good to see you again. We're getting kind of back to basics here. Today, we're going to talk about the correct order to build wealth because most people get it wrong. My favorite saying is you can't save your way to rich. Saving is crucial for financial security and short term goals, but it's usually not enough to build wealth. So let's talk through the right order. First is to get that 401k match, or as my dad says, don't leave money on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. You're essentially, if you're not putting enough into your 401k to get the match, you're giving yourself a pay cut.
Yeah.
Because that's free, that's money that's part of your salary. They put it in your benefits package as part of your salary. The employer looks at it as your cost of being there as an employee.
Yep.
And if you don't contribute to your 401k, they don't contribute to your 401k, and you're essentially giving yourself a pay cut.
Right. All right, step number two, build your emergency fund in a high yield savings account.
Yeah, this is one we see all the time where people have significant money in just a regular savings or even worse, their checking account.
Yeah.
And you're just letting the bank have that money to use for free. So you know your mid short-term savings, not the money that's for your everyday bills, but that money that you're saving for emergencies should be in a high yield savings account where you can make 2, maybe 3, even as much as 4% return on it, which is gigantic compared to the 0.01% that you're making in your checking account.
Yeah, over time, that makes a big difference. Good point. Number three, max out your Roth IRA.
Yeah, so that's huge. Obviously, we spend a lot of time talking about Roth IRAs on these conversations, but the tax-free compound interest is a game changer, and that you want to max out that Roth IRA, because that's where the real wealth comes in. When you got to think about that whole pool of money is yours, and you don't owe anybody a dime on it.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. All right, I love it when we get back to basics, Josh. Next, we have max out your HSA, which is known as your high yield savings account, and your 401k.
Yeah, your HSA is your health savings account for health expenses. So you want to max that out for future health reasons, but that's also tax free on the way in. And if you spend it for health related costs, or if you end up not, you can always roll it into your retirement accounts later on in life. Um, so yeah, you want to max those things out. Max out your 401k if you can afford to. The contribution limits are pretty high. But and the big thing is if you have a Roth option inside of your 401k, take advantage of that Roth option inside of your 401k as well. The employer will still match you. They'll just put their match into the traditional. Your match will go to the Roth. You will be very, very, very happy that you did later.
All right. Side note question on that one, Josh. Is there a correct split of contributing to your 401k with tax deductible versus Roth?
Long term, you're always going to be better off putting it all in the Roth. Now,
Okay.
short term, you can mess with tax brackets. And if you're near a tax bracket, depending on your household income and deductions and all that stuff, you can put enough in the traditional to stay in that lower tax bracket and then put the rest in the Roth. So it's a per person thing. There's no rule of thumb, but the more you can put in the Roth, the better, I promise.
Yeah. All right. And then last, invest outside retirement. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, that's another thing that we see a lot of folks not doing is retirement is your long-term savings. That's for in 30 years or when you retire. There's strings attached by the government. You can only access it after 59 and a half or in certain emergency situations. So you really to set yourself up for success, you should have a midterm savings account. Something for, something if you're going to buy a car in a few years or you're going to buy that vacation house or big emergencies come up, you should have you have your emergency fund and your high yield savings. That's for short-term emergencies, 1 to 2 year things that are coming up. And then you have a midterm thing for those 2+ year and things are coming up when it's time to buy a new car, upgrade the house, whatever, save money.
Braces for the kids. Whew.
Right. Yeah. So for your midterm spending, no strings attached. There's no tax benefits to it, but it makes that midterm of life a lot easier to have that money ready for whatever comes up.
Hmm. So, Josh, you've been doing this for a while. Where do you see people generally getting it wrong when it comes to this order?
It's really a bit of all of them.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people with, 60 to $100,000 sitting in their regular checking account. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, well, some of that should probably go to a high yield savings, and then some of that should probably go to your midterm investment account, right? You probably don't need 100 grand for super short-term investments making zero interest. And then we see a lot of folks not taking advantage of the employer Roth. And obviously, we have these tax conversations every time we get together about the Roth IRAs and the tax free versus tax deferred. So,
Yeah.
all these things are equally important. You just need to kind of evaluate where you are personally
Right. Right.
and which one of these things you're not taking advantage of.
Right. Well, Josh, I wish you and I had had this conversation when I was in my 20s.
I hear that one a lot.
All right. Well, at least we're letting people know now. So if somebody wants to talk to you about the correct order for them, again, it's going to be a little bit more personalized when you sit down and figure out your own priorities and where your money is now. But Josh, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can jump on our website at millardfg.com and schedule a meeting, or they can call the office at 260-488-8300.
Great. Josh, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Erin.